Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sharp, St. Andrews class of 68, and welcome to the Rocks and Razorbacks podcast. Here, we feature conversations with remarkable alumni, teachers, and administrators from both Middleton and St. Andrews high schools. This is a great way to share meaningful stories and keep our memories alive of growing up in West Ashland. Now for today's show.
Playing ball in your high school years, you can't ask for more than playing for the great coach Jerry Waters, winning a state championship, and hauling in individual honors. But Middleton's Odell Cleveland accomplished those things and more. It helped him to become the man he is today. Reverend Cleveland to many now, Odell traveled down from his home in the upstate to share his story with me, Neil Kynard, Mike Wiggins, and Cliff Springs in Razorback Gym, a place that still makes his hog heart skip a beat. Odell, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now I can finally ask you.
Okay.
You walked on Middleton's grounds. You walked into this gym. What kind of emotions come to mind?
You know, it's just so many. It's almost like memories I even forgot about. And walking on the grounds, walking in the gym, I remember looking at that court right there. And as a freshman, you know, used to have these big old pep rallies. And one of the pep rallies, the cheerleaders finished is like, and we're going to dunk you. And my job was to dunk something. I was so nervous standing at half court running to dunk because I thought I might miss it. And here it is in front of everybody. And when I made it, I said to myself, wow. So all those type of memories, this was a classroom. This was Jerry Waters' classroom. And I learned so much here that has really helped me with my success in life.
So basketball was a huge part of your time here, your success here. What about overall as the school, as classmates, as the teachers that you experienced?
The teachers were great. Middleton, in a way, helped me because I went to so many schools in elementary school. So settling at Middleton, the teachers were great. Lunch was great. You know, everything here was good. And I think everyone tried to get along. And we were, you know, I think basketball and sports was the glue that galvanized so much in my life at that time.
So we're both the class of 79, and it's still somewhat of a new school. By the time we both entered as freshmen in 76, just a couple of years, but the basketball team already had this incredible reputation.
And Jerry Waters had a reputation too. And the thing about it is I went to C.E. Williams, and my 7th grade year, I played for St. Andrews junior varsity team, and we beat Middleton. And then my 8th grade year, I played for Middleton's JV team, and we beat St. Andrews. But I didn't know anything about Jerry Waters until I met Coach Atkinson and everything else. But Jerry knew all about me. Jerry had a way of knowing about the players who were coming to the school.
Because at your age, you grew up in a certain part of Charleston.
Yes.
And the lines were drawn a certain way. And I think Coach Waters famously talked about almost deciding to coach at Middleton due to the way some of the athletes lived along those lines.
Yes. Jerry Waters told me during the book, he looked at where the black athletes were and who were real good. And that's the way he drew the lines. And that's why he wanted to come and coach. Coach Waters was such a genius on the court. Coach Waters taught me so much about discipline. Now, we disagreed on a lot of things. We butt heads. He was very stubborn. I was very stubborn. And I guess I tolerated him because he was a winner, and he tolerated me because I was a winner. And I think that meeting Coach Jerry O. Waters is one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life.
So when you were younger, you played for C. Williams JV.
Yes.
Okay.
Coach Sutton.
And then Middleton's JV when you were a freshman.
Atkinson's, yes.
Okay. Okay. Where was your love of basketball born?
That's a great question. I've never been asked that question before. I grew up in a little area called Ashleyville, you know, west of Ashley, and we would go to the creek. The creek is in the back, and we would go swimming. And you weren't supposed to go swimming. So to disguise, when you came out swimming and you're black, you use this thing called ashy. You look kind of white when you're in the water, right? So you had to sweat or put water on you so you wouldn't get in trouble because everybody in the community those days knew what was going on, and people would drown back there. So if you went to the creek, didn't have a swimming pool, wasn't a public swimming pool, you went to the creek and people would know you would get in trouble. So the love of it came in deception of trying to sweat so you didn't look like you were in the creek. That's the truth, man.
What a story.
Well, it's the truth. I had no
Well-
idea. I didn't even like basketball. Didn't like it. I started playing, and they called me the wild man because I didn't know how to play, but I could get rebounds. And I would play, I was barefooted. And a lot of times we would walk around barefooted in the neighborhood. So that was just the interesting. Just imagine this. You're on a concrete slab playing basketball barefooted and playing wild, and the people like, you just play so rough, you're the wild man. Crazy.
Wow. That is a crazy story about deceiving people to play basketball so you could swim.
Yep. So you can swim and not get in trouble.
Okay.
Because in those days, you get in trouble, you would get a beating. There was no timeout. You would get a beating, a belt, and just you do what you have to do,
So 76, JV, was it Coach Atkinson overseeing it?
For Middleton, it was Coach Jackson. Yes.
Right. Okay. And so there's Mike Wiggins back there.
Okay.
Also class of 79,
Yep.
freshman at 76. And later we'll get him to chime in on those days of you guys actually being on the court together.
That's perfect.
That'd be wonderful. Somewhere along the way, you got really strong, really good at what you do on the court. What do you attribute that to?
I think it's accolades, because when you are a young kid and you're trying to do certain things, when you get to the point where you're good at something and you are acknowledged for it, St. Andrews Playground, we played over there. The first time ever playing in the inside court. We always learned out on the, blacktop. Going over to St. Andrews, them on Playground Road, we got picked for an all-star game, and we won the all-star tournament, and you just start feeling good about yourself. One, self-esteem and positive environment makes all the difference in the world, and it's contagious. I think that was the big deal. So I have to thank the Ashleyville of the world. I think I have to thank St. Andrews Playground, and from there to C.E. Williams to Middleton, and from Middleton, here we go.
Did that success and the accolades bleed over to you wanting to do well in the classroom?
No, not at first. I wanted to see my way through, meaning that I wanted to make a C so I could stay eligible. I wasn't a good student. Not that I wasn't smart, I just didn't like the classroom aspects of it. And that's why I say basketball, and my family would say basketball saved your life, because basketball kept you engaged. And for you to be eligible to play basketball, you had to do well in school. Basketball helped me stay in the game long enough to I could appreciate and understand that doing one's homework, studying for tests, studying for quiz, you get a different result than not doing your homework and just showing up,
How did that also feed into your social life here at Middleton?
Well, Middleton loved their basketball team. It wasn't no preferential treatment or anything like that. But when you went to a game, this gym was packed. I remember one year when I was on the JV team, Burke High School played Middleton, and they played at the Citadel gym. The game was so big, they had to move it to the Citadel. And I don't know how I got in, but it was just rafters. It was just amazing, and the energy and the pride that people took from Middleton. And you didn't want to lose. You wanted to do your best here because your best was rewarded. We would have Tuesday games. You have a good game Tuesday, Wednesday morning, everybody like, good game. Who doesn't mind a pat on the back?
So we both started in 76, and Middleton's already won 2 state championships. And you want a part of that. You want to play a part of that, probably a big part of that.
Yes.
And so what were your expectations when you joined after the JV team and joined the varsity?
Well, I had never met Coach Jerry Waters, and Jerry was a force of nature. When you meet Jerry came in screaming, yelling, and you're like, this guy's crazy, in your mind, but you're intimidated because it's so much. And the fact that you love it, so you have to do what he asks you to do if you want to be a part of the team. And you never knew where Jerry stood, but he liked toughness. And in those days, I was mean. So Jerry liked mean players. And if he can take that meanness and focus it into intensity, because there's a difference between mean and being intense. And Jerry had a way of focusing that, because Jerry Waters taught me how to survive in pressure situations. I tell my wife all the time, and others who listen to me, Jerry taught me how to stop the hands of time. And let me explain. We would be sitting there and the game is good and it's a timeout with 7 seconds left. And you run to the bench and Jerry's like, we got him right where we want him. And I'm like, 7 seconds? This game's going to be over. We're down by 1. And Jerry's like, no, we have time. And he'd tell you what you're going to do. And over the years, you believed it and it worked. So he would call a timeout 7 seconds. He would call a timeout with 3 seconds and we would win the game. And that's the first time in my life I ever understood how you could just take pressure, and if you're conditioned and used to it, pressure bothers you, but you're not afraid of pressure. And that's why it helps me now in my life when I negotiate deals. A lot of times when you're at the boardroom negotiating, folk don't like being uncomfortable. Jerry made us uncomfortable to the point that we're comfortably uncomfortable, because that's the way it was going to be. He made it uncomfortable. He made the practices uncomfortable. He made you push yourself. He did that to a point of one time it just almost snapped. I was the leader of a team, I remember once, and all these memories come back. I was the leader of a team, and Jerry got on my nerves so much that I called a strike, meaning that we had the players, we're not going to practice there. We're going to show Jerry Waters, because Jerry was, I don't know if you remember Bobby Knight. Bobby Knight was this guy, Jerry would yell at us and scream at us, and I'm like, I'm tired of that. So I lead the team, I tell everybody we're not going that day. And the only person who went for Billy Hawkins, he didn't get the message in time. I think somebody else went, but other than that, that was it. And we didn't go. And Jerry had a fit. He was so mad at me, but he had a fit. But it is what it is. But it was a way for 17 and 18-year-olds to push back against a grown man who had intensity, so much intensity. And we're like, you can't yell at us. You know, young, black, afros, feeling good about self, and Jerry would not degrade you. Let me be clear. Jerry would, like the Marines, he would break you down to build you up. I didn't like the breaking down part. Not every day. We did a good game. It didn't matter, Jerry. Next day, get on that line. We used to do something called suicides. And we run from the end court to the foul line to the middle to this and this. And if you weren't first, Jerry just called you all kind of names. Not as being disrespectful, as motivating. But at 16, 17, and 18, I'm like, this white man yelling at me, not today. I'm going to shut this down. We loved each other, but you had to have some sense of understanding, some sense of respect. And Jerry, and I learned more as a man now when I went through the situation with Coach Waters, when we won state championships. He helped me get into community college down in Florida, personally helped recruit me down there. He helped me get in USC Upstate. I didn't want to go to Upstate, but he called my grandfather, and my grandfather decided I was going to USC Upstate. One of the best decisions there. I worked with him, like you stated earlier, doing the book and the video, and I had the honor of preaching his funeral. So I love Jerry Waters. Jerry Waters loved me. We didn't always understand or agree, but we agreed to be disagreeable.
Talking to others, we hear similar stories, but you have more, I think, one-on-one than
Coach Waters?
Some others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything from like Coach Davis to Coach Atkinson.
Oh, Ack was great.
Talking about not only like as a coach, but playing pickup during lunch.
Oh, he'd bruise you. He'd elbow you. He was tough, man. Jerry competed all the time. And the older he got, the more he couldn't compete physically, but he competed mentally. You know, when we were at the University of South Carolina Upstate and we were coming to play College of Charleston, that game before that, Jerry benched me. You know, and it's like, you're not going to start. So I'm sitting on the bench and he going to put me in the last 3 minutes of the game. Previous game, I said, I'm not going in. So we went back and forth, but he got me mentally prepared. When we came here and played the College of Charleston, the old field house was packed, pressure situation, and they cracked. College of Charleston cracked. Stan Conley, I think that's his name, because he played with me at Lake City Community College. He threw a pass that he shouldn't have thrown, and we stole it, and that's how we won the game. In life, a lot of time, the pressures of life, you have to deal with it, whether it's a business deal, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your children. A lot of time it comes at you, and Jerry Waters, I'll be forever be thankful, because he taught me as a young boy how to deal with the pressures of life and its consequences. You could win or lose based on how one handles the pressure.
Wow. Was that like 1982 when you guys won the NAIA National Championship?
Same thing. We played 5 games in 5 days. And we played, I mean, one game we were playing Hampton University. Those guys was big, they were strong, they were street guys. And Jerry's like, Odell, get in there, tough. You have to fight. Literally, you have to play tough so the bullies don't push you off the court. And that's why Jerry recruited me for upstate, because it was University of South Carolina Spartanburg before it's turned upstate. And they went to the Nationals in '83, didn't win it. And the next year he recruited me and he said, I need you to help toughen this team up. Literally, practice. We'd be fighting in practice and he'd just sit there like eating popcorn, enjoying it, because he understood that it becomes a certain part in the game. Tim is like, how bad do you want it? Do you want it bad enough to fight for it? Do you want it bad enough to let somebody take the ball from you? How bad do you want it? Yeah. And that's the bottom line.
Wow. And you guys were, your conditioning was incredible.
Oh my God.
Did anybody out-condition you guys?
No, because Jerry, man, I love Jerry. I miss Jerry. But Jerry was a beast, man. But he was so intelligent. He was so intelligent. He knew that stuff. He knew it. And he gave us the confidence that when we got off the bus and walked in the gym, our expectations were we're going to win. We're going to win. I mean, that was just it. And he played Sweet Georgia Brown. We're going to win. And when we warm up, it's just, this is what we're going to do. And everybody in the gym, it's interesting. All these memories are coming back, fond memories. When we would be playing and Jerry called timeout and he's mad because we're not playing well, like everybody in the gym will just gas, like, ooh, ooh, because Jerry called timeout. And every now and then when we're doing this, the referee's not calling the game the way he thinks it should be called, he would get a technical foul deliberately just to, Jerry was a master with psychology. He knew it all. He knew it all.
Wow. Talking of coaches, before I move on, I did run into Coach Jim Atkinson recently at a Citadel basketball game.
All right.
And I said, hey, I'm going to talk with Odell in a few days.
Uh-huh.
What can I talk to him about? And he goes, oh, there's so much to talk about. And he took a step away and then he turned around. He goes, Tim, ask him about the time I sent him home.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He did. Same thing. I was in practice. Listen, I wasn't the ideal student. I wasn't the ideal player. And every now and then, Odell was full of Odell. I know that doesn't happen to anybody else but me. And he was trying to tell me to do something, and I just didn't feel like doing it that day. I just didn't feel like it. And he sent me home. He said, go home. He sent me home, and I respected him enough. I left. And sometimes you don't realize what you miss until you leave it. And on the way going home, at that time, didn't have a car, so you went to Orleans Road and get on the bus, caught the bus home. The next day in school, he said, you ready to come back? Yes, sir. So I guess it's part of maturing. I think it's a part of maturity. You have to mature and understand it, because one thing about sports can give you the big head, and that's just how things work.
Let's go back one more time to 1978, 79.
Uh-huh.
And you're on the bench. It's a timeout. The place is packed. Mm-hmm. Close your eyes. What do you see, smell, hear, and in your mind's eye?
I hear Jerry's voice. The way Jerry trained us. He trained us, and I can close my eyes and see it. He trained us by his voice. It wasn't by a whistle. It was his voice. And his philosophy was, in the midst of all the noise, I want to train them that they hear my voice. And that's what I hear most of all. You could hear Jerry. You knew that you had to focus in because you had so much time. And a timeout, just a little bit of time. But also you hear the pep band, you hear the cheerleaders, but you had to tone all that out because Jerry was sitting right there with that clipboard. And by God, if you wasn't paying attention, the raft will come down on you. So that's what I remember the most. And the confidence of knowing that we're going to win because Jerry said we're going to win.
Memories of going on to the state championship. And I know we took it in 77.
At first, I was very nervous when we got to the Carolina Coliseum, the old Coliseum, and we won that game. I was just trying not to mess up. At that time, Tommy Grant was the star of the team, Frank Russ, other people, and we had a young team, and we won it. The next year, we went to Francis Marion, and we got beat. But I remember that game because that was one of my better games, like 36 points or something like that. But we just wasn't ready mentally. Because Orangeburg Wilson wasn't better than us, in my opinion. I still stand by that today. But they played better. And a lot of times, sports is one state of mind, not just physical ability, because in championship games, everybody can play. When you get to the championships, everybody's good. So nobody's not going to be good, but mentally, you have to be ready. And that's that toughness that Jerry taught us. And we didn't have that toughness that night for whatever reason. And that game, it doesn't haunt me, but that game still bothers me because I wanted to win. Still do.
Sticking with basketball, you grew up with so many folks that went on to play and attend St. Andrews High School.
Yes.
Tell us about the rivalry. What memories do you have of the rivalry?
Quentin Fleetwood Freeman. In this gym right here, we were playing St. Andrews. The game was tied. On the other end of the court, they were inbounding the ball. I just scored. They were inbounding the ball. I was acting like I was running down here, and I immediately turned around, intercepted the pass, and tried to go in for a layup, would have won the game. Because if you won the game, you was going to be player of the week on Channel 2. I missed the shot. I got fouled, and I went to the free throw line with no seconds left on the clock. I missed both free throws, and we went into overtime, and they beat us. That's the one. And Quentin wouldn't let me live that down because Quentin Freeman was so good. And remember, that's the team that I was playing with, because, teams move on in the 7th grade. That's the one I wish I had back. A lot of people think that you hate the other opponent on the other team. You don't. You respect them, and that we were all friends because we got on those school buses and JV at 3 o'clock and drove and went everywhere. And then we go to the girls JV team game, the boys JV game, and then we sit through the girls varsity game, then we sit through the boys varsity, and then we ride home. So we all were friends. But it didn't matter, man. When you said St. Andrews and Middleton, that's a whole nother deal. That was a whole nother deal. We didn't want St. Andrews to beat us in anything, not even in a spitting contest. Nothing at all.
Somewhere along the way, I wasn't sure when, I'm curious, you found actually the Father, the Lord. Yes. Can you tell us about that?
It's funny. I was at home from college, and a friend of mine, Ivan, I forgot Ivan's last name. He used to live in the neighborhood. And one day I was asked about something. He invited me to come to church. And so right down Magnolia Road, almost by Albemarle Elementary, past Albemarle was a little church he went to, and it was a white church. I didn't know. He didn't tell me it was a white church. He said, hey, come to church. So I went there, and I was just sitting there because I'd already started reading this little Gideon Bible when I was in college, the little green Gideon Bible. And God just started, I don't know, it's a tugging at you. It's a tugging at you because I didn't like school and I didn't like church. I like basketball. I didn't like church. My mother always went to church, and I'm sure my mother and my sister prayed for me and all that kind of good stuff. So the gentleman asked the question, anybody wants to be saved, raise your hand. And before I knew it, my hand went up. And it's just the craziest thing. And my calling is different. My calling is more of outside the 4 walls of churches, helping, not senior pastor. And it makes a difference when you could go out there and feed people, help churches understand what they can and can't do. It's a different calling, but I love it.
And I think some of your old friends and alumni may want to be interested in how's your life today.
My life is good, but they're probably going to say, Odell, the preacher? You out of everybody, because I was horrible. Man. I was a hard-nosed, mean basketball player who found how to take meanness and turn it into intensity. And that's Jerry Waters' teaching, along with my grandfather, made a difference. And sometimes you have to soften yourself enough to get the noise out of your own head.
Well, one of my best friends growing up is actually Mike Wiggins back here. And
Okay.
great ball player, church league together, a couple years. Mike probably didn't harness that meanness that you said you harnessed into being good and solid on the court.
I do have a comment on that. Thinking of Jim Atkinson, he taught anybody who played on that team, if you wanted to survive, you had to have grit.
Yeah.
You had to have a want-to-win attitude, and he instilled that in me. And many times on the court with Odell, he was a physical presence, and but we all learned that you had to be mentally tough and you had to be physically ready to go, and they ingrained it in us. Jim Atkinson, Jerry Waters, both. It was just a culture of Middleton basketball, and it was remarkable to be a part of it.
Yeah, and you got that rebound, Mike, and you grabbed it and put it right here, and you didn't let nobody take that ball from you. Remember that drill we had? He got the middle court, and he rolled the ball out there, one person on one end, the other, and you just go and dive, and who's the toughest to get the ball. I'm telling you, man, stuff that the day's parents will probably call the school board on us for doing. That's what we did. Mike, you're a great teammate. Thank you. One thing Jerry and Coach Atkinson and others taught us, we all were leaders. You were leaders. And once I finished playing basketball, when I was there in college, people would say, Odell, you're the leader out there. Get those guys together. Well, once I graduated and in a business administration degree, you would go into meetings and they didn't see you as a leader. Same people who said you were a leader on the basketball court didn't see you as a leader in the boardroom. But Coach Waters, Coach Atkinson, our team knew, for me, Odell, you're a leader. And I think the ability and characteristics of leaders are transference from the basketball court or the football field into the boardroom. You just have to understand the new rules of the game. And that's how it allowed me to have the confidence enough, not cockiness, we worked all that out with maturity, but confidence enough to be a leader, but I had to understand. And it helped me in my marriage, in the fact that I've been married now for 40 years. How do you lead a family? I know that sounds silly, but how do you lead a family? God says you're the head of the household. How do you lead that family? You lead by understanding and looking at the team. My wife is my teammate. We love each other. This is how we do it. That's the beautiful thing of what Coach Waters did. He built a foundation, Tim. He built a foundation that so many different things could sit on because the foundation is solid. It's solid. And
Fantastic.
I thank Middleton for that.
Looking back one more time, life on this court, not only as a basketball player, but as a human being, how were race relations back in your day?
Race relations in Middleton was good, but race relations in South Carolina at the time wasn't. Remember now, I grew up in an all-black neighborhood. Marysville and Asheville was all black. When I first started going to school, it was segregated. We went to Wallace at the time. Wallace was all black. You could go from elementary school all the way up to high school. So when we started integrating, being bused to schools, I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time. Albemarle Elementary was a petri dish for racial fights and everything like that. It was tough. Albemarle Elementary was tough. So you have to put up your guards, and when you're young, every white person is this, and every black person is that. Well, going through that in life, Middleton helped me understand that that's not true. Because you can hold on to a lie or the misconcept that you may have learned on grandma's porch from old Uncle Willie until you meet someone different. And then you're like, well, what I thought was the truth is not the truth anymore. In Middleton, whites, black, got along, cheered. We had one goal. That was winning. That was winning. And to the point of when I called the strike for the team, it was Jerry Waters, old white guy, yelling at the black kids. I missed the fact that Jerry was yelling at everybody. He was yelling at everybody, black or white, but because of that residue in your head, he was yelling at a point that yelling and screaming. And it's like, no, let's not do that. But handle it the way that a 16, 17-year-old could handle it. But I thank God that Jerry yelled and screamed, but also started showing love too. Because Jerry would get upset and he'd grab the clipboard and just slam it, man, just slam it. And I'm like, you know, we all have triggers. We all come from different backgrounds. And so slamming and yelling and screaming, that didn't work. But once we start understanding and knowing each other, because you could judge someone until you get to know them. In Middleton High School, the crowd, the teachers, everyone in the stands had no idea how they helped me deal with what was going on in the court, because everything was applauded. Everything was encouraging. From the cheerleaders to the pep band, everything, Sweet Georgia Brown, everything was so positive. And there's enough positive in our mental bank account that allowed us to deal with some of the negative things from time to time. So Middleton helped make me.
If you were to make it down here and see Middleton being bulldozed, right out that window, I could actually see the construction for the new school. And it's going to be finished one day. They'll move the students and the equipment and desks and everything in there, test it out, and then they're going to knock the structures down. What do you think you might be thinking as you see the bulldozers and the wrecking ball come in?
I would think, I'm thankful that I had a chance to experience this, because life is about seasons and you have to deal with every season. And instead of moaning and pining for what was, I thank God for what I did experience. So I've lived my life by not looking in the rearview mirror, but I'm thankful that I had a chance to be a part of this. And life goes on. It's a cycle of life. In ministry, you see people don't understand that you have to prepare for the future. That's why I love what Mike does on financial preparedness, wealth management. You have to prepare for the future. What they say, once a man, twice a child. So yes, I'm crying now even thinking about it. And it's okay for a good-looking black guy to cry, but I'm crying now thinking about it because I miss it, but I'm not stuck here. Middleton gave me the ammunition. Middleton gave me the oomph to move on. So coming back here is wonderful. But I know that, like the poem, you can never come home again. So yes, I would love to get a brick memories, but it's in my heart. Middleton will always be in my heart. I tell people I have salt water in my veins, and I'm a hog forever.
Thanks for watching today's episode, and be on the lookout for additional episodes. If you'd like to be a guest or even a host in the Rocks and Razorbacks podcast, please let us know. We want the podcast to be the go-to place for cherished Middleton and St. Andrews memories. Don't forget, the Rocks and Razorbacks documentary geared for South Carolina ETV is in production, and we'd love your input and help with that as well. For now, go Rocks and, go Hogs. Well, you get it. Thanks.